Everyone, and welcome to another edition of the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff as we get you set for Sunday's match at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta United and Philadelphia Union. If it feels like we haven't been with you for a while, you're right. We've had 3 weeks off, but finally now the MLS season coming out of the international break, and it's going to be a very busy couple weeks for Atlanta United starting on Sunday. Jason, I forgot what you look like. I haven't seen you in 3 weeks.
It's been a while. It's been a while. I hope these players remember what each other looks like. No, they've been working very, very hard on the training pitch. There's been a lot of training sessions. We do know there's some absences. Joseph Martinez is away with the Venezuelan national team. Ronald Hernandez has been making appearances for the Venezuelan national team. They're going to be gone for a little bit of time. News today with a preliminary roster on the Gold Cup for the U.S. men's national team. It is a large preliminary roster, so no panicking just yet, but there are some Atlanta United players on that, so they could be leaving here in a few weeks to join with the U.S. men's national team for the Gold Cup. It's going to be a hectic summer for Gabriel Heinze with incoming and outgoing and a lot of players on the field, maybe not getting to know one another from a hi, who are you perspective, but getting to know one another from a I'm playing next to you, we have to work together in tight spaces. Let's get to know one another on the field. And you're going to see some of that at times with some maybe some combinations that we're not used to seeing.
Yeah, and I know it's a challenge for Heinze, and we'll get into it a little later on as we preview the Philadelphia match, but this is a good thing for Atlanta United. This is what happens to big clubs. You have a lot of players who are good enough to play for their national teams, and this is just something that Atlanta United is going to have to navigate. Some of their upcoming opponents are navigating it too, so it's not unique just to us. Now, Thursday night, the big reveal of the third kit, which Atlanta United is going to wear Sunday against Philadelphia Union. If you haven't seen it yet, or if you weren't a part of the festivities on Thursday, let's take a look at how it all went down.
Before our club had a name, we stood together. As we reached the heights of glory, we celebrated like only we knew how. And as we write the story of our future, we will write it as one. Unity. It binds us. It drives us. So we protect it. We cherish it. And we fight for it. As players, as a club, as a city. This is the Unity Kit, a tribute to our club, supporters, and the city we love. 13 messages of unity in 11 languages pay homage to the power of the beautiful game and its power to unite us all. A distinctive deep red and vibrant orange cement our unity, just as Georgia red clay is the common ground on which we all stand. Each message of unity rippling outward, carrying the voice of our city around the globe. The words, a city united, sit inside the collar. A statement that no matter what the outcome on the pitch, we're unbreakable when we stand as one. This kit isn't just for us. It's for all of us. Truth, quality, peace, unity, dignity, justice, repair the world, humanity, dream, grace, light, love. This is the Unity Kit.
Well, I love how they look, number one, and I love what they stand for, number two. And the really cool part about this, Jason, is that some of the proceeds from the sale of the Unity Kit are going to fund the construction of mini pitches across the state of Georgia.
Yeah, it was an incredible event last night at the National Center for Civil and Human Rights, which if you haven't had a chance to visit and do the tour, highly recommended. One of our great landmarks in the city of Atlanta. Please take some time if you haven't had a chance to go and visit. But the GA100 project is going to be the beneficiary of this, and it's a project that's really close to my heart. Building mini pitches is something that Soccer in the Streets has been involved in here in Atlanta. It is a very difficult thing to do, to identify a piece of land, to get access, to be able to prep the land, to bring the people together to pay for a project like this, because building fields is not cheap, even miniature fields. But the impact they can have, I've seen it firsthand. They do bring community together. They do unify neighborhoods. And all of us, I think, who have been involved in sports remember our days as kids, at the field, playing, meeting new friends, hanging out, parents hanging out. It becomes a meeting place for the community. And this project, the GA 100 project, building 100 mini pitches all over the state of Georgia, not just in the metro Atlanta area, between now and the 2026 World Cup, it has the potential to be transformative for not just soccer in the state, although it will have a huge positive impact on the sport in the state. It has the potential to be transformative for the state as a whole, because it is another place for people to come together as one and be involved in something positive and have a positive impact on neighborhoods and communities. I'm so excited that, one, the Unity Kit and the message behind it, the launch of it, two, what it's going to benefit. It is potentially transformative for this state on so many different levels.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Atlanta United continuing to try to drive the growth of soccer across the state of Georgia, and Atlanta United has almost reached the quarter pole of the season now. It's weird to think of it that way because we've had this long 3-week break. But it's been an eventful first 2 months of the season. We thought, rather than look back at the last match, as we usually do on the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff, we would take maybe a broader look at the season to this point with a highlight package of how these first couple league matches have gone for Atlanta United. And again, they're getting results. They've gotten results, as a matter of fact, in all but one of the league matches they've played this year.
Yeah, it's been an exciting start to Gabriel Heinze's term here in Atlanta. I'm excited to see where it goes from here, but let's get caught up on how we got to this point, week 8 this weekend in MLS. This is how Atlanta's season has gone in Major League Soccer.
Well, that last goal there by Eric Lopez, really a thing of beauty against Nashville, that clever little flick. And I think the most enduring image for me, Jason, the first quarter of the season there in that highlight package is Joseph scoring at Miami and then running to hug Mario Cruz, his trainer, who really helped him, not his trainer, the team's trainer, but someone who individually really helped him through the rehab process. It feels like as every week goes along, we kind of get closer to normalcy. You saw more fans in the stands as that package went along as well. So it's been a very eventful first couple weeks of the season for Atlanta United, and I'm anxious to see what they're going to do now to build on this great start.
Yeah, it's easy to kind of forget the journey that this season has been. Going back to the beginning of it, where it was limited attendance. Now we're getting back to normal in that regard. I think the team is playing in a way that is closer to what Gabriel Heinze wants on a regular basis, but that's always going to be a work in progress. And there's been a lot of big moments already. The Marcelino Moreno game winner, the Emerson Heineman goal, and he's going to be a huge absence going forward with the ACL injury. But his goal after the great footwork from Jake Mulroney, that last goal from Eric Lopez, his first in Atlanta, Joseph's goal. There's been a lot of big moments already, and we're still really early in the MLS season.
Yeah. We're also fairly early, though maybe a little further along in the USL Championship season. And Atlanta United, too, has been one of the great stories for the club so far this year. They had a little bit of a setback this week. But as we check in from the proving ground, I want to talk to you a little bit about their last home match under the direction of Jack Collison now, who's coaching the Twos. And they got a really, really gritty result against SKC2 a week ago Wednesday.
Yeah, a really entertaining match at the proving ground up in Kennesaw, with Sporting Kansas City 2 coming in and scoring a couple of great goals themselves. But Atlanta United 2 just kept fighting. Bradley Camden Feo, a player who has taken the captain's armband here, played a variety of positions as needed, and has been so critical for this team. His first professional goal in a number of years was the first equalizer. And then the second was really developed by a lot of young players and finished by Coleman Gannon. It felt like a goal that shows the quality and the reason why Atlanta invests so much in the academy, with David Mejia, with Will Riley, with Coleman Gannon, all involved in putting that away. Caleb Wiley as well. Great performance from the Twos to get the result against Sporting Kansas City 2. It wasn't an easy performance. They went up to Memphis this week in the midweek, and you saw kind of the flip side of having a very young team. An early mistake with 2 yellow cards for Johnny Fortune. He was sent off in the first half, and it made the match obviously very, very difficult to play, more than 50 minutes with 10 men. I was really impressed with the performance. I was really impressed with the fight. Memphis ended up winning the match 1-0 on a set piece, which is something that the Twos have struggled with this year. It's kind of a small team. Set pieces are a challenge. But when you're a young team and you go on the road and you have an early red card, it's going to be incredibly difficult to get a result. But what was so impressive was the Twos made Memphis resort to time-wasting tactics late in the game with 10 men. And that's, in a lot of ways, a sign of respect for the quality of the Twos and how they were still creating chances and still dangerous, even playing with 10. Jack Collison's a few games into his run now with Atlanta United 2. It's been great to catch up with him and hear from him. I think he brings a young, dynamic energy to the group, and he's the perfect guy to follow up on the work that Scott Donnelly started in 2018, and then Stephen Glass and Henry Apalou developed, and then Tony Annan continued. Jack Collison's the perfect addition to continue that on, and you're seeing that commitment to young players still be a huge factor in Atlanta United 2 right now.
And now the Twos in a little bit of a break. They're going to play again next weekend. Don't forget, as Atlanta United, the first team navigates some of the international call-ups over the next really 2 months. Some of the Atlanta United 2 players are going to factor into some first-team decisions for Heinze. So very, very important to keep an eye on how the Twos are playing. And as I said, they'll be back at it next week. Now, MLS, aside from one match last weekend, has been completely dormant since Memorial Day weekend. So let's catch you up on the last full week of Major League Soccer action. These were the results from Week 7. It feels like it was a decade ago. It really wasn't that long. Oh, but it does feel like it. But what score lines stand out to you on this slate, Jason?
I think some of the larger ones are the ones that jump out. D.C. going to Fort Lauderdale and winning 3-0. They have a return match this weekend in D.C. Really curious to see what that looks like. Colorado with a big statement and a 3-0 win over Dallas. Colorado has a very solid squad, and I've been waiting to see if they're capable of these types of performances week in and week out. We'll see if they can continue to build on a big win over Dallas, who's been a little disappointing this season after a good run in the postseason for them. Philadelphia with a big win over Portland. Portland's had a crazy start to the season with all of the injuries. We'll see if they can get healthy, but that's a statement win for Philadelphia. Now, how can they build on something that happened 3 weeks ago? I think we'll get a sense on Sunday. But Philadelphia has picked up where they left off as one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference.
Down there at the bottom, Austin, really nice draw against Seattle. Austin opening their new stadium in Week 8 of MLS. Let's look at the breakdown of the schedule for that. Atlanta United's going to play later in the weekend, obviously, on Sunday. There you see it against Philadelphia Union. But Austin opening up their new stadium against the Quakes. Their stadium actually opened on Wednesday with the U.S. women's national team, so I don't want to say it's the first event there. But I know they're really, really excited down in Texas. And New England hosting New York City, I think, is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on Saturday night, Jason, because New York City is going to be Atlanta United's next opponent, and it's going to be a quick turnaround. It's going to be played Wednesday at Red Bull Arena.
Yeah, this is one of the big games of the weekend, and we have some highlights here of Jesus Medina, who has really started to come good for NYC. The Paraguayan attacker had a little bit of a slow start to his time in MLS. I think previous managers kind of struggled to figure out where he should play. Is he a winger? Is he a 9? Is he a 10? What does it look like? We've seen shifts in the way that NYC has played during his time there. But Jesus Medina has been one of the top players in the league this season. Now, this game with NYC and New England is going to be played at Red Bull Arena, which is interesting because I wonder if the Pigeons might have had a little bit more of an advantage against a New England team that can open the field up at the smaller pitch at Yankee Stadium. They're not going to have that. But if they get a result, and they need to, because I feel like New England has been the best team in the East. The records show that, and I think they've had the best performances so far. NYC wants to be in that mix. Jesus Medina will be critical to getting them there. I'm not sure if they're there yet. Ronnie Dyla has had some inconsistent results from time to time in New York City. This is an opportunity for him to put down a marker and announce NYC's presence as a contender in the Eastern Conference. Saturday night will be a must-watch for Atlanta United fans because it's a quick turn on Wednesday with the Five Stripes making a trip up north.
Yeah, having to turn from Sunday to Wednesday, very, very difficult. And I think there's a chance that we could see a different striker starting on Sunday and then a different striker starting on Wednesday. We say this because we know Joseph Martinez is out. He's with the Venezuelan national team in Brazil at Copa America. So let's look at two of the primary options, Jason. There are a lot of different ways that Heinze can play this, but here would be maybe the two primary options to deal with Joseph's absence, starting obviously with Cubo Torres, who was a big part of filling in for Joseph last season.
Cubo Torres is the veteran of this group. He has scored a lot of goals in his MLS career with Chivas USA and at the Houston Dynamo. He has consistently worked himself into good positions in an Atlanta kit. I think he's played well up until the finish. It's been everything but the finish for Cubo Torres here. It almost feels like it's turning into just a bad luck situation because he's getting the opportunities. And I think the thing that gives Cubo the opportunity to start here is a lot of the work off the ball. I think Cubo Torres, with his experience, he understands the way Gabriel Heinze wants to play. He understands the tactics and the philosophy that Gabriel Heinze has in the long term and also has game to game. He presses very well. He makes it difficult for the opposition center backs to breathe, to have time on the ball. He is capable of finishing. And you're seeing it in these highlights, whether it's been in MLS, whether it's been in Mexico. He is capable of finding those goals. It has just been very difficult for him to do that in Atlanta. He's a streaky scorer. And when we start talking about how this can look, if he gets on a hot streak, it's going to be tough to keep him out of the lineup. But somebody who will be trying to keep him out of the lineup is this man, Jackson Conway.
I would like to think that I am the conductor of the Jackson Conway hype train, or at least I'd like to think of myself that way. And we've seen his goal scoring prowess, obviously, with Atlanta United 2 last year. You saw an academy goal. He scored against Club America in the CONCACAF Champions League last December, scored against maybe the best goalkeeper in North America, Memo Ochoa. So we know he is up for the big stage. And I have to think, Jason, if it's not going to be Sunday, it's going to be sometime over the next couple weeks, because Joseph could potentially miss 4 or 5 matches.
Yeah, and that's the difference between these two with Kubo Torres and Jackson Conway. Kubo will excel in a lot of the work in the final third, but without the ball. Jackson Conway, you see it in that highlight reel. He is capable of golazos on a regular basis. It doesn't feel like Jackson Conway scores a lot of ordinary goals. He will be fine in those moments when he gets a sniff of goal. Where Jackson Conway has to continue to improve is that work that Kubo is excelling in, the pressing, the movement off the ball, the runs off the ball to open things up. Can he get there where Gabriel Heinze wants to get? I think we're going to see him in this time that Joseph Martinez is out. And you could see some other varieties as well. Could they go false 9 in a game with Ezequiel Barco up top, with Marcelino Moreno up top? You've watched this team all season. The number 9 drops into the midfield quite often anyway. The forward is expected to do that. So if it is a midfielder playing forward, well, they're going to be very comfortable doing that. So with a lot of games in a short period of time, I think the plan will be to see quite a few different people in the spot. But if Kubo Torres, if Jackson Conway, if it is a wild card option, get hot, maybe Gabriel Heinze will then stick with the hot hand. It's going to be very difficult to game plan for Atlanta United right now if you're the opposition.
Yeah, and the opposition on Sunday is Philadelphia Union, the third time that these clubs have met this year. They played in the CONCACAF Champions League. Philadelphia won on aggregate 4-1. Jose Martinez, by the way, is on international duty for Philadelphia Union. That might mean a little bit more work for Jamiro Montero, who, by the way, leads MLS in game-winning assists this year. And Philadelphia hasn't won a lot of matches, which is somewhat odd.
Jamiro Montero is a player who this year with Jose Martinez, who won't be here, and Leon Flock's addition, Montero's been able to push really high up the field, and it's given Jim Curtin the ability to go a little bit slower in playing Anthony Fontana, Paxton Aronson, some of the other young talents that could be the point of the diamond, the attacking point of the diamond. Montero's comfortable in that kind of role. I think right now with Martinez out, he'll be playing a little bit deeper. He'll have more defensive responsibilities to deal with, and it will be critical for Atlanta to make him defend. They have to try to make him sit deeper so he isn't involved in those transition moments where he thrives. You see him getting forward in a moment like this, and he can pick the pass, but he can break a team down by picking the right time to break. If Atlanta can keep him out of that spot and keep him pinned deeper, and especially with Philly's diamond, make him have to play wider, open the diamond up. If Atlanta can do that, they can nullify some of those situations where we saw Jamiro Montero thrive. It won't be easy. He's a top player in this league. But Atlanta has done a good job this season of pinning opposing outside backs deep, with Philly not really playing with wingers. Those outside backs might need help. They might get pinned 2v1. Montero and Alejandro Bedoya are going to have to drift wider to help defend, and that's going to prevent them from impacting the game in the attacking half as much. If Atlanta does that, they'll have a much better chance of winning here.
Tough match, though, in which to resume play, really for both teams. It's tough for Philadelphia as well. I mean, they've had a couple weeks off. Now they have to come down to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So there might be a little bit of rust early for both teams in this match on Sunday, but I'm anxious to see it. I think it's going to be very, very tough. There's going to be a feel to this match because of maybe some of the physicality, some of the chippiness that occurred in the CONCACAF Champions League tie between these teams. Quick prediction for you, and I think it's a prediction I've already given once this year and failed. I'm going to try again. I feel really good about this one. Jackson Conway is going to make his MLS debut on Sunday. I'm not saying as a starter or a sub, but I think he's going to play. If Kubo starts, can Kubo give you 90? Not sure. I think Jackson might be in a really good position to come on as a substitute. But I think Jackson Conway makes his MLS debut on Sunday.
I'll go a little bolder on a prediction here. I was really impressed with George Bello's performance against Philly in the home leg of CONCACAF, where he played a little bit more as a midfielder in the way the game played out. He played centrally a lot more. I think George Bello gets on the score sheet on Sunday with a goal or an assist. I think he's going to be the guy who can flip the field and also, as he flares out, can really create some matchup issues for Philadelphia on their right side. My prediction, George Bello gets a goal or an assist on Sunday.
I love it. I love it. All right. So we're going to see what happens. 2 o'clock on Sunday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Jason and I will see you there on the radio. You can watch the match on ESPN. Don't forget, next week on the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff, not only will we have a recap of the Philadelphia match, but also the New York City match, which will be played Wednesday night at Red Bull Arena. Enjoy the match. We look forward to seeing you on Sunday, and thank you for joining us on the AT&T Countdown to Kickoff.